Hi, I'm Kate, this is Charlie and Rachel, and we're doing a YouTube video today, and it's all about tattoos and tattoo cover. Charlie has got a lovely armful of tattoos that we're going to try and cover straight down the middle, basically. And there is so many ways to cover tattoos and different types of makeup used to cover for different reasons. The coverage we're going to be doing today is fantastic for speed, and it's really good for making it look like skin. And it does last quite well. So this one is the MAC Creamy Air. First of all, this Creamy Air, which is really lasts well and has good colours, you cannot mix any alcohol with it. So you can't flick over the top with IPA, nor should you pre-clean your arm with IPA. So Rachel is just going over Charlie's arm with micellar water. The first thing we're going to do is block out the strength of that darkness with a light colour. So Rachel, what colour have we got there?
This is shade number 40, and it's sort of a warm terracotta orange colour.
The airbrush is starting now, which is that noise in the background, and Rachel's going to start the process. This is a really scary step for me, because in your head you're thinking, I've only got another 20 minutes, and the actor has now got a bright orange body or arm. You know, if anybody walked in at this stage, they'll think, what are you doing? But it is a process, and it does work. It did definitely work.
So now we're going in with, this is another scary process because it's so light. It's almost like rice paper or CI. This is number 60, which I think is really similar to the CI colour in Makiage.
Everybody will know, or most people will know, the CI colour, which is lovely creamy white. It's like an old English white, and that will just negate the orange and go back to a very pale colour.
And you have to completely lose the orange in this step, because in the same way, if you don't lose the depth, if you don't lose the orange, all day you'll see orange.
But it is relatively speedy because of the airbrush. You know, two of us were working before on an actor's full body, and I think we allowed, it was an extra 2.5 hours in the morning to do a whole body. And we're talking a whole body. It was everywhere, toes. Right. Even when you thought you'd finished, you hadn't. So Rachel we're now down to whiting out.
So we've done our white layer over the top of the terracotta orange. Now we want to try and pull it back to Charlie's skin tone. You can see Charlie's got quite a tan on his face, but I'm going to match to the skin tone of the body. And then we can always warm up the whole area as we need to. And this is a really nice colour actually, it's number 45. It's quite a pale skin tone, so if Charlie was browner, say sort of my colouring, I'd probably go in with 45 still, because you need to really layer to lose this orange and white layer. So I'd still go in with something like a 45, and then I'd go in with something darker. I know it seems like a lot of layers, but you sort of have to trust the process. Otherwise, if you don't, you go with something darker, this will pull through. So you need to layer up to keep losing each layer, if that makes any sense at all. So we'll go in with 45 next.
I found this part of the process quite comforting, because it's the first time you go, okay, we're going back to the skin tone now. So it's less scary, because you kind of think, oh, I can see we're finding our way. So for me, this was always the part that I liked, coming back to here.
And I know I said before about working with your DOP in your camera department, but I'd often ask them to look down the camera lens and really sort of stand in the dip tent and get a real sort of look at what it's actually looking like on camera, not just stood on an iPad. I think it's quite important to see what they're seeing, because the quality is just so superior.
You can already see, and I'm sure that's picking up on camera, that is kind of beginning to look like that there is no tattoo there. So we finished the third layer, and you can see Rachel, I should say, has done an amazing overall blanket coverage, and it does look good, but it looks a bit flat, and it looks a bit like skin has got so many different colours and textures. Especially Charlie's provided us with some lovely freckles, quite a lot of red mottling as well. Now normally this is when you get your PPI palettes out, or your Ripper palettes out, and you start painting in, but you cannot mix those, you cannot use alcohol based colours. So we go back to, we either use our Makiage palettes, because you've got a whole range of colours there that are brilliant. And we thin it with the Creamier dilutant. Or you can just use one of the Creamier colours already.
You can go in with a darker or a lighter and just flick with your Creamier. It's quite runny.
Yeah, I've mixed up. I'm using Makiage thinned with the dilutant, and Rachel is using straight Creamier. And we're just going to flick some freckles. Charlie, excuse me, I'm going to lean right over you there to do that.
Okay.
Just adding some texture. But please, please remember that golden rule that you cannot use alcohol on it, because all your good work will be undone. And we both, Rachel and I, have done that, so we know. And if you need to paint veins on, again, I would advise Makiage. And I think maybe we would add a little bit of red, just because there's quite a lot of warmth. Even now, I think even as Charlie is getting hotter, there's red that's spreading down, creeping down. So I think because I know I've got this colour here, just going to take a pinky and reddy tone and thin it with dilutant, and we'll flick some of that on, or mottle some of that on. And you don't seal. We came to the conclusion that actually sealing causes as many problems as it gives. I'm just flicking some warms just to add that red. It actually works really well, just adding all these different layers. But all in all, I think we'll zoom in closer, but I think that adds a huge amount of texture, and it looks believable to skin.